Yo, 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 it's reverse polarity. Guess what? We're 21 episodes old today. I
Oh,
did. I've got a drink. It's not alcoholic, but I'm still ready to party. I'm
it's
joined.
root beer. Does it count?
Yeah, it does count. I'm your boy, HifiVega, and I'm joined today by the man who never sleeps, Car Audio's favorite wirer, a man who once wrapped a gift in Techflex with a zip tie and heat shrink bow. What's up, Dean?
What's going on? I know wire. It's one of those words that is just like, wait a minute, is that right? You know the word that always gets me, that just irritates the shit out of me when
What?
people say neons.
Neon. Oh, I've never heard no one say neons.
Oh, people say neons all the time. Hey man, you got those neons? Hey, I'm gonna put some neons in my car. No, it's just neon. It's never not neon. It's one neon, a group of neon. It's all neon. There's no S. Don't put an S in the end. And people, no, it's neons. No, it's not neon. Those words.
I will say, as a half Mexican, that we tend to pluralize a lot of things that are just standard. But you know,
yeah. Hey, I mean, I work with a full Mexican, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, Dean works exclusively with Mexicans, half or full, one or the other. So
that and Indians, I got them all down. It's funny. I laugh at this because, my previous employer was a Greek, 100% Greek, like both blood Greek, bended Greece, all the way, And then I go to work, and Paul's Indian, and Fernando's obviously Mexican from Mexico. Not a racial epithet slur for Latin American. No, he's actually Mexican, or North American, depending on how the group you're with. And it's just one of those funny things. It's like, wow, I look back over the last 40, almost 30 some odd years, and it's like, man, that's just weird. Like, I've never worked with. I mean, I've worked with Caucasians.
Yeah.
Or white people, as it were, honkies, crackers. I could say that, but it's like, no, I've always been employed by someone of nationality. We'll call it.
I've got a good Greek story. So when I lived in California, we rented from a Greek family.
Okay.
And my mom would make me and my brother go and pay the rent every month. You could not leave that house. You had to eat something. There was no question. You come in that house, you were going to eat something before you left, and I mean, it was good food. So we weren't dreading this. We were we get to pay the rent.
So my high school friend was also Greek. So there again, and his parents owned a restaurant. Man, so we go over there, and I'd be just like, raiding the icebox. What do we got today? I don't know, but it's gonna be good. Oh, his mom could cook, and they had this small kitchen, and she would just. Oh man, where do they make? They used to have the hamburger. We have like noodles, like macaroni noodles with meat and shit. Oh my god,
yeah,
I can't eat it now.
That's why I first had a gyro like that, and then it was a son and his mother that owned the place, and man, she would load you up, man, and it was good times.
Well, let me ask you this: did they have columns and or a fountain in their front yard?
They had a fountain, no columns.
There you go. Okay, they were Greek. They're Greek. Yeah. No offense to any Greeks out there. It's just here they have columns or a fountain. If you ever make it to Tarpon Springs is little Greek town. So that is, that's where they throw the cross in the water, and that's the sponge docks. And it was all just Greek immigrants that come into town. It's where the big Greek Orthodox church is. But that's where you go and get. They have a restaurant down there called Mr. Souvlaki's, and you go get a Mr. Souvlaki, and then we have the Euro King. Oh, and he's no joke. He's definitely the king because he don't play around, man.
That's the best thing about Florida. That there is so many cultures in Florida that you can literally have the best of any type of food you want.
It's pretty funny, yeah, because it's like, you want Indian food, it'll be Indians. If you want Vietnamese food, be Vietnamese. Sushi is going to be the Japanese guys. Or although I will say with sushi, what is it? Thai people, the Thai company, they do really, like, we go to this Thai restaurant, they have amazing sushi. Like, and I spend way too much money getting sushi. And I don't like raw fish, so I get like the tempura shrimp sushi and the crab sushi and stuff like that. It's funny because I really don't like seafood, but you roll it in rice and seaweed and give me. I think I just like wasabi.
I need to try that because I have tried now. The only sushi I've tried has been off a buffet, so don't go by what I'm saying. But me and my son, we open mind, open heart. Like, let's try this sushi. We're already here. Let's see what it's like. And dude, it was terrible.
So you got to go to a real place because it's a way different experience. But yeah, so I mean, that is true. I mean, I feel it's that way a lot now because America being the great melting pot that it is. Like when we go visit my dad in Michigan, in the middle of freaking Farm Belt, Michigan, we go to the Mexican restaurant and Los Tacos, and it's I may help you today. And we get that Los Tacos there, Hector.
Oh, Scott Civic. Appreciate it, bro.
But yeah. Revolving Sushi Factory. Yeah, that's dude. We always Haley and I will do sushi and we always order way too much sushi. And she's real picky, so it's like, but we always get way too much. And then we went a couple weeks ago with a friend of hers. She's like, I really want some sushi. I said, all right, let's go get sushi. We spent like a lot of money on sushi and we brought a lot of it home because they're both freaking lightweights. Yeah. And I'm like, really, guys? Come on.
See, my wife would be the one that goes to the sushi place and gets chicken strips. She's that woman.
Yeah.
Well, I have a topic, and today, last week we talked about banana flavoring, right?
It's funny. I just saw that post. Did you throw those away?
Let me share it.
Okay.
Actually, one of the kids' friends or someone ate them. So this is recent. My wife has thrown these away because she absolutely hates them as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think this gift sums it up. It's clearly garbage. I hate banana Laffy Taffies. They're abomination.
That's it, man. That's heaven right there. That's
jeez,
dude, man. That's like, I'm good for months with that. Like that stack right there, I'd be good for months.
Yeah, man. Those
that'd be heaven.
This they put mainly bananas in there. Like there was like 3 or 4 other ones in there. So I buy 5 bags and I get like this many maybe of regular.
You're the guy that doesn't like bananas.
Yeah. I joked I was gonna start sending them out with every package I send.
Why not? You should.
Yeah, might as well.
So it was funny. Last night I was talking with Matthew Palumbo at Audio Control, and he's like, yeah, I'm making my kids dinner, and I was like, ooh. And he's, I called him Mr. Mom, and he's like, oh yeah, I make a mean grilled cheese sandwich. And of course, I was like, give me some tomato soup on a cold day, grilled cheese, baby. I'm on my way. And he sends me a picture of it's a grilled cheese sandwich cut in half with half a banana and some carrot sticks. And I'm like, I eat banana every day. Like I have a banana every day for breakfast, whether I need it or not. And like I can't stand carrot sticks. Like Fernando will sit there with a bag of carrot sticks, and he's freaking Bugs Bunny
with no dip at all.
No, just raw, man. Won't put hot sauce. Just
no way.
And you're like,
I can eat carrots. I can eat carrots cooked for one. I like them cooked. I can eat carrots raw with some sort of dip.
Yeah.
But never alone. Never alone.
Do I like pho? Yeah, pho's good. I like pho.
Man, who doesn't like it?
And yes, I do get the boat. When we order sushi, we get the boat. We get the big ass boat. Yeah. So like I love soup. Like Fernando and I, that is one thing that we both agree on is like soup is king.
Yeah.
Because he's like a soup freak. Like to him, it's like, hey, we're gonna have soup tonight. It's like, dude, roll back. Okay, roll back.
That's how it is around here too. We're soup lovers. Actually, I like Panera Bread a lot for that because you can get half sandwich and a half pan of soup, dude.
Dude, he will eat Panera's broccoli cheddar soup for breakfast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you got soup today, huh? Woo! Yeah, broccoli and cheddar again.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well,
Why not
I had
bagel?
their French onion soup twice in the past 2 weeks. So if that says anything, that and they got like a steak and cheese sandwich.
Yeah,
it's pretty righteous.
We got a Cuban restaurant here. Go figure. And they have this Cuban soup that they make. And I can't pronounce it. When I order, I just go, give me a bowl of the stuff I can't pronounce. And they go, blah, blah, blah. And I go, sure. Yeah, just give me a bowl of that. Ooh, but they make a Cuban Italian. Okay, so they make a Cuban sandwich, but they theme it as an Italian. So it's like, I know it has the sauce and all the extra shit that they would add to make a Cuban sandwich like Italian. And oh my God, dude, like talk about two things that make good babies. I mean, oh God, it's so like Haley and I will just be like, and then she'll eat like half and then she'll put the other half in the refrigerator and she's like, that is mine. Don't you eat it. And I'll be like, dude, 2 days, it's not gone. It's gone.
Hey, that's house rules. That's like any dad in the world knows this. House rules. You got 2 days maximum. Maximum.
And it's gone. Yeah.
And then it's getting eaten. So I have a poll today. We're not for 17 minutes yet. And this one's a real selfish choice here. And it's down to 2 unexpected leaders.
All right. You can choose one and the rest are gone forever. I gotta go with ice cream. Like I don't like this is a treat. But I could care less. You know, we bought these this weekend and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna have one of those little root beers. But I don't drink soda or pop or any of that crap. So I would not miss it for anything. But ice cream?
Yeah, dude.
No, man, someone would die.
Yeah, man. That's I don't know. I don't know that I could just pick one.
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles are for winners. Oh man, I've got another story before we get in talking about sprinkles are for winners. Last year, in my daughter's senior year in high school, they made it to the state finals for volleyball again. Ooh. In the championship. They were in the championship again, and they ended up losing, unfortunately. We all go to eat afterwards, you know, because it's like 3 hours away. And she asked if she can get dessert. And then I just deadpan as I do. I was like, no, desserts for winners. The other parents, they freaking like audible gasp. And I just let it play out for like a minute, and I'm like, you can get dessert. I don't care.
Oh my God, dude! That's why we're great dads.
Yeah,
that's plain. So that's why we're great dads. Because Haley I'd have said the same thing to Haley. I said, all right, you can get ice cream, but no sprinkles. Only winners get sprinkles. I'll take mine with sprinkles. She'd be like, kiss me. You're a jerk.
Funny, man. It was classic.
I have a card that she made me one year where she says she was young and she goes, even though you're mean to me, it's just one of the lines in the cards, you know, I still love you. And I'm like, so I kept the card because it's like this big. It's like 11 by 14. And so every time like some douchey shit happens in her life, I'll go, well, come to me. I'm the mean dad, remember? Like, yes, you'll never live that down. I don't care how many times you hit me in the arm, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You still got.
I'm teaching you life lessons, getting you ready for the real world.
Yeah. Oh, she was complaining about something the other day, and I said, well, I mean, you know, when you get a real job, she goes, oh, this isn't a real job? I go, no, listen, this has the potential to be a real job, but a real job is what happens when you make enough money to move out of my house and support yourself. Until then, it's just kind of like you're around the bowl a little bit. All right.
Yeah. And she's like so serious, man. She's just trying to live her life.
You know, and it's not like I'm mean when I say it. I'm just like, wow! You know, it's just like, all right, slow it down, killer. Whoa, easy there, big dog. You know, big dog, little bark.
That's what dads are here for. You gotta be taken down a peg every now and again.
Oh yeah, we're reality checks for sure because our reality has been checked our whole lives. You know, it's like, hey, no. What about no?
Yeah.
No. All right, screw all of you.
I'm going to do my own internet show and no one's going to tell me what I can do.
Yes.
So we have a topic today, and this topic comes from our dude, the legend, Nando. Wire management trends, man.
So basically what happens is every time you send me the topics, because he'll ask me in the morning now, I go, do you have your topics set? And I'm like, dude, it's 9:30. Slow your roll, dog. I mean, give him a minute. Let him get out of bed and like kick some shit around. I mean, let him shake the magic 8-ball or something. I mean, so I read all the things and I just read them to him. And he's the one that picks all the content for the show. I'm going to tell you guys straight now. If you're like, who picks this? He comes up with the ideas. He gives me like 4 choices, and I just go to Fernando, go, which one do you like? And then he plays with them in his head for a little bit, spits some stuff out, and he goes, what about this? And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I read him all your ideas, and he came up with that topic, and I was like, okay, we'll run with that. Because whatever thing in his life he's got going on, it's like that's what he thought would be cool today. And I was like, yeah, fine, let's do that.
It works. I mean, we've got a bit of an extended universe here, the reverse polarities. We've got Sue, who's already made a surprise appearance by voice only. We have Hayden, we have Nando, we have Big D.
Oh, yeah.
There's an extended universe here.
Yeah. Let's get Kip on.
Well, do you want to be able to talk or not, Dean?
Oh, damn. Is he in the comments? I mean, yeah. He's going to rewatch this, and he's going to be all up in your shit for that.
Oh, hey, if I don't make fun of you, I don't like you that much.
Oh, is that the clause?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then I love everybody.
Oh, man.
We're going to have some fun. Oh, yeah, definitely. The wire ruler for the win. Ooh.
Oh, the D ruler.
D-wire. D-wire ruler. Have I sent you one of these? I haven't sent you one of these yet, have I?
Uh-uh.
Ooh, okay. Well, apparently the 2 colors that win are this blue here and then the green, which I think the green fell somewhere and I couldn't find it, so I didn't really want to look because it's
like dangerous. The neon green looking.
Yeah, the fluorescent green one. Because we've had this, I had to order. He's already reordered green and blue, and we shipped those out a couple weeks ago, and they're already sold out. So I'm ordering to make more green and blue next week to fill orders. But yeah, green and blue seem to be the color of choice. So this time I ordered double what I ordered before. So I'll make all those and then they won't sell.
That's how to go.
I want to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Andy, you know what they say about snitches, right? I don't want to have to say it online, but
stitches?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Or our bitches.
It'd be a shame if something happened to your YouTube channel.
I mean, what can you do? Don't go follow. As soon as you tell somebody not to do something, they're going to do it. So it's like, then if you tell them, okay, so they want to tell everyone to do it, then no one will. Is that how that works?
But then sometimes they do.
I don't know. You tell me there's a song I need to listen to. I'm going to go listen to it. So, I mean, it's like impossible to not do something. All right. Well, what's the topic?
So wire management trends. I do have a question regarding this. When did you guys start doing the Techflex? Like, when did what we know as 5-star wiring actually start, and when did that become incorporated? And this was the only way you did that.
So Techflex came much later because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So you have so as an employee, you have the employer. And so when you go to your employer and you're like, hey, listen, we want to change something that we do in our installations. It's a gradual transition from where you were to where we are now as far as what we charge for installation. And with everyone I've ever done worked for, it's like they have to figure out that this is getting to be progressively more expensive and taking more time. But the flip side to it is it doesn't look like anybody else's work and it's much cleaner. So we had to kind of work with what we had in the beginning, which was just like Loom. It's like, hey, we got Loom. Let's just use Loom. So everything was just covered in Loom. And then we started to gradually work in Techflex because, I had to go find suppliers for it because we were buying it from Amp Global and their price sucked. And so it was like, we can do this, but we need to find a better supplier. And, then we started buying quantity, which brought the price down because we go through tons of this stuff. So yeah, it wasn't like overnight. It wasn't like we just came out of the box and we're like, here we go. Zip ties have always been a thing. Like zip ties were always like 10,000 zip ties has always been the running joke since day one of my installation. Like I've always used, but that was what we had, so it was like zip tying every inch was just something I've always done, regardless of whether it needed it or not. But I feel as an installer, you find, you look at the pictures or you find trends or you come up with ideas and you just kind of incorporate those techniques into your installation. Like ferrules. No one knew what ferrules were, 5 years ago. No one talked about ferrules.
Yeah,
like, what's
for
a
sure.
ferrule? And there was, one guy put up a picture and was like, do you use ferrules? Not to me, just in general. And it was like, what's a ferrule?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, what's a ferrule? And then, it was like you do a little research, you find out a little bit more about them. And then, the next thing you know, it's like you're posting pictures of ferrules because you have this product. And it's like, you're always looking for something to make your product that you're creating. Like, don't kid yourself. An installation that we do is a product. It's a product that's a box that's on the shelf. We can do so many of them a week. And we take those off and they cost a certain amount of money. So it's a product. And as an owner, you have to think of an installation as a product, not as a service, because it is a service, but it's also this box of goods that's going into this customer's car. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was the other thing, too. It was like trying to figure out how much do you need? Where does it need to go? What is necessary? And you just kind of, I don't really know, but I mean, because like we'll have cars that'll come back into the bay for services and or to get stuff updated, or they want a new radio, and it's like you look at the installation and it's like, when did we do this? 4 years ago, really? Oh, it's got ferrules and tape and shrink wrap, and geez, we've been doing this that long, like. And then I think, well, yeah, dumbass, you've been doing this for 30 years. I mean, oh, yeah, that, it's like, I had a box come into the install bay I think last year sometime. And I'm looking at the box. And when I used to build boxes, I always would do triangle ports. So it looked like Darth Vader. So all my boxes had center cut triangle ports because nobody did them that way. So I'd always know that was my box. So this box comes into the bay. I'm looking at him going, dude, I haven't seen anybody do triangle ports. I guarantee you this is my box. And I took this and it's like there was no speaker cups on it because I hate speaker cups, even though like every box has speaker cups now. It's like, give me one speaker cup. I don't need 10 speaker cups on a box. We got one freaking speaker cup. Okay. So I was like, dude, I built this box. And friend was like, no, well, how do you know? I'm like, dude, inset sides, corner ports, no speaker plug. This is my box. And I pulled the woofers out. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally me. I could see, how I would double round the back of the port. There's always a lip because, when you do it around and around, the other side always cuts in that groove. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, dude. I mean, this box had to be 20 years old.
Wow.
If not older. And I was like, damn, like,
the inset sides were the pro tip for wrapping. That was made your life so much better.
Oh yeah. So I just always had a piece of 1/4 inch hardboard sitting on the workbench. So I mean, dude, when I built boxes, man, sorry to get off on a tangent. When I built boxes, like I had that shit down to a science, man. I had all my tools laid out in line. It was like everything I do always has a purpose. So it was like I had my nail gun and a holder next to this, and it was like the glue gun and everything was right where it needed to be. I'd turn around my round over bit right there. I put that back, my plunge router, center screw, put that back, grab out my flush trim bit to cut out the port because I'd always nail the box together and then flush cut out the ports because I hate cutting wood to fit. And no, I would just 6 sides, drill 2. And I had an air drill that had a 1/2 inch drill bit in it. And that's all that ever had. It was like I bought it, I torqued the thing on, and it has never come off. I still have that same drill with that same drill bit in it. That is all it has ever done its whole life is drill holes for ports in boxes so I could flush cut them out. But dude, I could whip a box out, like I said, I think my record was 20 boxes in one day, not carpeted, just built.
Wow.
So what I did was I figured out the math to do 3 boxes out of 2 pieces of wood.
Yeah.
And what I had was on my panel saw, I took hinges, all right, and I bolted them in place. And so what I would do is I'd flip the hinges up, I'd slide the piece of wood in, I'd flop one hinge down, I just sit there and cut like all day, just cut. And I would just like sheet after sheet, cut. And I'd have these stacks of, 4 foot by whatever inches it was. And then I'd take those and I'd flip that hinge up, drop the other hinge down, and that would be my length. And I'd just cut. And then I'd have stacks of, little pieces, and then the other finished pieces. I'd move those out. And I'd take the little pieces, I'd drop another hinge down, and I'd cut. And then I would, and I'd have those in stacks. Those are my ends and my middle. And then I'd have just enough slack left over, and I'd go over the table saw and cut all my ports. Okay, because at that point we'd moved from corner ports to center ports, and I'd always inset my center port in like 3 inches because I like the big look, but I also like a divider. So I would take my divider and inset it like 3 inches, and then have my ports come in. So it looked like a big port, but it wasn't. It was divided.
It was two individual.
Yeah. And so, and then that was it. So I just have all these stacks of wood that I'd spent, and dude, I'd have a snow mound of sawdust. Like it would just, it's like you're just scooping all this. You get all that, so you'd stop and you clean up as much of the sawdust as you can, and then you just start gluing boxes together. Because I use finishing nails. I hate staples. I'd use 1.25 inch finishing nails.
That's what I use too.
Oh, dude, I'll just, flip it. And it was all structured. I had everything exactly the way it needed to be. I had a piece I'd put in to get this. And it was just like, it was a machine. And it was stupid because I would go to the owner and I'd be like, this is dumb. This is like the dumbest thing ever. We can buy these boxes already made for less than what it's costing me to build these. And he's like, no, everyone wants a custom box. And I'm like, I'm not building custom boxes.
These are prefabs that we make here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, seriously, bro. It's not custom. I mean, it's custom to the woofer, but who gives a shit? And that was funny because Fernando asked this week, we'll get back to the wiring, I promise. He asked me this week, he goes, well, how much does it cost to make a box? How do you figure out how much money it costs to make a box? And I was like, okay. It's all math. It's all math divided on how much, material. And so we figured out the average cost, going on what it was to make a box 10 or 15 years ago, how much a sheet of wood was, which was probably double that now. Yeah. To make this box that we were selling for like $150 probably cost us about $110 in materials to build with labor and nails and all that shit. It's like for $30, it was the dumbest thing ever. It was stupid. It's
insane. Like this was a low volume area for like car audio sales. Yeah. So if you wanted a custom box, they weren't playing with you. You were going to at least give them $250 a minimum. And then if it was, it's reasonable when you think about it. That was just for a simple box. If you needed something actually really custom, it's $350 to $400.
Yeah. But I mean, like every truck that came in, we'd build those boxes. Like I had a box that was filled with cardboard templates, because what I would do is I'd go out to the car and I'd make a cardboard template that would, I'd get the outside shape of the box, and then I'd take it inside, I'd put it down on my workbench, and I would take a piece of whatever size wood I was going to use, 5/8 or 3/4, and I would line it up onto my template, and I would trace that inside set. And that would allow me to figure out what piece were the sides, what piece was going to be the top and bottom. Do these need to be the top and bottom? Do these need to be the top and bottom? I could figure all that out. And then I could go in there with my my angle gauge and get all my angles set up, so I knew where to set my table saw. And I would just write all this stuff down onto this piece of cardboard. So anytime the truck would come in, if we weren't doing anything different, like it didn't need an amp rack or whatnot, I would just pull out the cardboard, go out to the car, make sure it still fit, and then I'd make that box and, customize it, customize it? Okay. Customize it to whatever it needed to be for that particular install. But that was box building. It was a pain in the ass. But to bring this back around, what I found was my installers sucked. And so it would be irritating for me to spend like a day building all this trunk flush or amp racks or all this crap we built, and then they would get in there and they would just like,
yeah.
I'm like, stop.
Well,
Stop.
That was definitely a wiring trend, with the flush panels and all this was have it look nice on top, and when you pull those apart, it's just it's just everywhere.
This guy that I'm friends with, that I've been friends with now for probably 20 years or whatever, we did this BMW 3 Series that had a full dining kit on it. Yeah. And he's the mechanic that put the dining kit on it. So this guy wanted this thing, just the trunk dininged out, man. He wanted like all this leather and big freaking logo and like one subwoofer, no amplifiers anywhere to be seen. It was literally just you pop the trunk. There's a picture of it somewhere. I think we did a video on it. I don't know. Anyways, I have pictures. It was all wood, leather or vinyl. It's like 3 different color vinyls, matched the car, super stoked. Anyways, the amp was hidden. When you fold down the seat, it wasn't finished because he wasn't going to pay for that. And so the amp was mounted back inside there. All the wires were zip tied up and screwed it in place and everything was done. And so this guy, his name is Andrew, he was working on the car and he had to get something. He had to get the floor out. Okay. So I said, all right, so here's what you got to do. Get yourself a soapy rag and just go around the vinyl with the soapy rag. Okay. More water than soap. I said, just do it like 2 or 3 times, get it wet. I said, and then you should be able to like, just pull it out. And he's like, okay, it's that tight. I was like, yeah, there's no screws. It's literally just all Legos in. Like this piece goes in first, then this piece goes in, and then this piece goes in, and then once that last piece goes in, it locks everything into place. He's like, oh, okay. So he pulls it all apart, and it just comes right apart. And so he calls me up a couple days later. He's like, is this you're the guy that did the car, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, actually, no. He drove in. He came into the shop, and he was like, dude, that was incredible. And I was like, what? He goes, that BMW. I said, oh, you like the install? The trunk looked cool. He goes, oh, no. He goes, oh, yeah, that was great. Whatever. He goes, no, man. He goes, the amp install. I said, what are you talking about? It's just a freaking amp. I mean, it's literally, we just put a sub amp in. He goes, no, you don't understand, man. We get these cars in all the time. He's like, no one ever does like what you did to that amplifier. Like, no one's ever going to see that amp. But he's like, dude, all your wires were zip tied in place, and there was like a freaking zip tie every inch. And, he's like, dude, that was insane. Nobody does that. And I was like, well, I do. But it was one of those moments where it was like, oh, there's value in that. There's value in doing a better than average job with something, even though no one is ever going to see it.
Right.
So that was one of those aha moments where it's like, aha. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've always been stupid anal about like the line needs to be that. Like this is driving me crazy, but I'm not looking at it because it's like these janky ass cables. They're fixed. They don't twist.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it.
He's going to rip them off in 10-minute 10.
No, I'm going to pull them off and be like this. Didn't work. Just get the Apple AirPods, dumbass. But yeah, so I mean, as far as getting back to the question about the Techflex, I want to say probably the last 3 or 4 years that has been where it's like everyone gets that. But I mean, we've been using it for years. It's just a matter of how intense it has become. The problem we run into now is that we don't know who's who, so everyone just gets the same job. Yeah. So, you just pay what you pay, and you just get this. So it's like, that's it. There's no like, hey, I just want to get this cheap amp and have it installed. We don't do that. We don't.
See, that was one of my questions. Like, do people come in like, yeah, I don't want the Techflex. I don't want this.
Yeah.
I just want.
We don't even offer that. It's not even a question. It's like we have one installation charge. It comes with all this stuff. If you don't want to pay it, there's 6 guys down the road that would be more than happy to do it. Because that's it's not worth it. Yeah. It's not worth it. We're under too much of a microscope to, be like, oh, look what they did. And it's like, well, you didn't pay for the good stuff. Whatever. No.
Now, do they get to pick their colors?
No, we have black. We have black and red. That's it. There's no colors, man.
So You can get any color you want as long as it's black and red. Bingo, huh?
We have blue for remote turn on, and we have yellow for video.
I'll see. This is customizing. Black or yellow, black or red.
Black or red. There you go.
Appreciate it. So
we ordered for the Ground Zero build that at some point we're going to get back to. We ordered in a bunch of black and gold stuff for that because that's the Ground Zero colors.
Yeah.
But, that's like, Jesus Christ, that shit's expensive. I was like, oh, okay, no one's getting this.
Yeah.
Ooh. So JV says Bobby Gately enclosures are pretty dope, too. I'm going to comment on that because things are imitated. Like, there's a lot of people that like to imitate what we do, and I think it's flattering. I love it. That's why we came out with the clean wire ruler, because it was like, listen, if you want to do it, here's the easiest way to do it. You literally set this down. All your hole spacing is done for you. Super simple. Okay. Bobby Gately has come out with a box that is very unique. Like, you look at his box, he's got that Gately port. He's got those beveled edges. It looks like fine furniture. And you think, okay, well, that's all just extra. I don't need that. I just need like the row of subs with the hole in the center.
Yeah. And
we did a Gately box last month sometime. Somebody was like, yeah, dude, I bought the Gately box, man. And I got like 4 B2 8s and this B2 amp. And, you got, what? I'm like, I don't care, whatever, What are you putting in for a highs amp? Audio control? We're good. We'll figure this out. And we heard that thing and we're just like, God damn. Like, God damn.
Turns out Gately's been doing this a while.
God damn. I honestly, when the guy goes, yeah, I got a Gately box, I go, I was so excited because I was like, I've been dying to touch one of these things because, like, when you look at that wood, you're just like, oh, God, I want to touch that because it looks so cool.
I know, it makes birch ply or the Baltic ply. Man, it makes it look like whoa.
Oh my God, I want furniture like that, man. That what it reminds me of? Remember that old 70s like big wood furniture that everyone had like in their back room that like you had like the scenery on the shit, but it was like this. It's like, but it was all this. Yeah, it's that. It's just probably why I think it's, because it's nostalgic. Anyways, dude, so I'm literally like, both Fernando and I are just like, sorry, just sorry, just drooling over your box. It was so gorgeous, and it just fit so nice, and it sounded exquisite. Like it just went in, and it just exploded like you wanted it. Like you're just like, God, please explode, please explode, please explode, please just make big bass. And it's just like, and you're like, yes, it sounds fabulous. There's no rattle, there's no cone, it's just fucking high fives. Okay, so Paul, in his infinite wisdom, goes, hey man, I can order these boxes. And I'm like, Gately boxes? Oh no, not those. I found these. I'm like,
yeah.
I go, yeah, no, you can sell those to your people. I'm like, no, those again, no. So yesterday we had a guy come in that has been waiting for a Fox box.
Yeah.
And, Fox, obviously they had the fire, so they're kind of behind. So Paul's like, hey, let's put one of these 4.8 boxes in. I don't know who makes it. I don't know if it's Q Power or A-Trend. I don't know who makes it, but I'm just looking at it going, this is going to be a disaster. And he's like, oh no, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay. So, I have this quality thing that I know is way too high. Like it's way too high for what most people will associate as good sound. I'm not that guy. Everything sucks in my world until I was like, no, that doesn't suck. But a lot of things suck that no one ever hears about. So we get in, we put it in, and I'm just the whole time I'm like, this thing's gonna suck. This thing's gonna suck. This thing's gonna suck. And he's like, it'll sound wonderful. I'm like, no, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. So we go through the headache of getting this thing put in, which we won't even get into. The wiring was fabulous. First thing that threw me off is we turn it on. It sounds like there's maracas. And I'm like, why does it sound like maracas? And And Paul comes over and goes, oh, did you get the little moisture bags? Sometimes I stuff those in the woofer. And I go, so what? What was it? What a bag of what? Nutsack? What are you talking about? I go, silica gel? He goes, what do you call that stuff? Silica gel. It's the bag of silica gel. He goes, yeah. Sometimes I stuff that into the cone, underneath the cone, between the cracks, as the cone and the spider. Yeah, that area. I'm like, okay. So flip the box up.
So wait, this box come with subs in it?
No, this box didn't come with subs in it. When Dean unboxed subs, Dean didn't know that they stuffed silica gel into the cracks in these little 8-inch drivers. So if you're not like, you got to turn it and spin it, you go, oh yeah, silica gel.
Who does that?
Anyways.
You just broke me. All right, carry on.
So sure enough, I'm sitting there pulling these bags out, going, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And he goes, oh, is that what it was? I go, yeah, that's what it was. So we put it all back together and turn it up. And I'm like, oh, slow it down, killer. Yeah, this box ain't paying for all that bass. I'm like, turn the bass boost down. Because we should talk about bass boost, since that's the only question I caught on your guys' show the other night. So turn that down some. I was like, ooh, roll that back. Yeah. And so we're listening to it. I'm like, no, not even close. And of course today, the customer loved it. He thought it was wonderful. I'm like, okay. So if
I've had that happen too. Yeah. Someone in a Tacoma brought an underseat box.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, man, it's like it gets kind of loud, but it just the speakers sound like they're blown. And I was like, well, just play it, let me hear what it is. And sure enough, man, it drops low. I just hear, what in the world? I was like, hold up, man, lift the seats up. I need to see them. I was like, the speakers look fine. The box, the underseat box in the middle of it, no bracing whatsoever. The top 5/8 MDF, whatever it is, sitting there just. Like, yeah, this is no bueno, man. This box is terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. But anyways, so the moral of the story is if anyone's out there thinking about getting a Gately box and they're going, I don't know, man, it's kind of steep. No. It's steep for a reason. That box is dope as shit. It's a ton of bricks, and it sounds like a ton of bricks. Like, dude, those boxes are worth every damn penny that he puts into it and he charges for them, because they are so magical. Like, oh my god, dude. And I just people ask, what do you get? A Gately box? Just get a Gately box. If you want pretty, go buy an MTI box. If you want something that's just like gonna smack the back of your head off, and you want it to still be kind of pretty, then get a Gately box. If you just want loud and affordable, well, that's what Fox Box is for. That's what they do. They're loud and affordable.
And I've never got to mess with a Gately box in person, but you can definitely tell that they're pretty solid. They're dope.
I mean, oh my god! I just look at it and go, oh, this guy is shit.
Well, I like the stain choice too. The dark gray. That's a sick choice. But I will say, on the budget, Bobby asked about the kicker boxes. I like the Rockford Fosgate and the kicker preloaded enclosures.
Yeah,
I think like for the money, you get a really solid enclosure.
Yeah, I mean, I never consider a factory box an issue. Like, we do a ton of the kicker 212 boxes. Pretty much every kicker box, like their downfiring box. I thought it could be a little taller, but it works fine. But like those boxes that they make are just, there's no issues with any of them. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. It's like they realize like they're going to make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. And it's like whoever they got doing it, it's, there again, it comes like, so the funny thing is, if you like Rockford, remember the plastic boxes that they made?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay, because they bought that Q Logic or Q Power or I don't know what the hell it was. It was a box company that made like kick panels and all that crap at some point. And they bought that company, and they bought them so that they could make cool boxes, and they looked great, but they had plastic ports in them, and the plastic ports were glued together, and so they would eventually fall apart, and then you'd have to CA glue them back together. And I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. So After that fell apart, literally, then they came out with a current line of boxes that they have now. And then this line of boxes has been riding for what, 10 years with the metal port on the front. I mean, they've had it for, well, shit, probably 15 years at this point. And it's a good box. It's like it's built, it's well. I mean, you know, boxes are built like a brick house, or those little P300 boxes.
Yeah.
Like those things are monsters, man. We've taken those apart and we're like, oh my God, like, really? I mean, okay. You know, but there again, it's also one of those situations where it's like that company that's making those boxes, they've stepped on a gold mine, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, they're not going to screw that up.
For sure.
But,
and, you know, they do make, Kicker does make some of their boxes in-house. I don't know which models, but they do make some of them.
I'll just say this, that I feel like the fit and finish on a Kicker box is way nicer than the Rockford boxes. So
you know which boxes I really like from the factory?
JL.
Yes, JL boxes.
So, funny story about that. Have you seen the new Kenwood boxes?
No, I haven't.
So Kenwood has new boxes. You should probably venture over and look on their webpage. But you know the cool JL triangle box that you can like roll back and it fires backwards and you can roll it up and it fires down?
Yeah. They got a Kenwood one. Whoa.
They got a Kenwood one.
Hey.
And it's built, oh dude, it's built great and it sounds fabulous. And it's like, you know, hey, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what I always say. You know, it's like, hey, let's stop. Let's just like this works. It's the number one selling enclosure. Let's just make that. I mean, why is that so hard? You know, just give us what we want. And Kenwood did that this year. And when we heard one, the first time we heard one, we didn't know what it was because it was like one of those blind tests. They brought it up and like, hey, we want you guys to hear this. And we're like, okay. So we listened to it. And I was like, oh my God, dude, like, what the hell is that? And we went in the back and it's like these two red striped Kenwood 12s just banging away on a Rockford 750.1. And I was like, wow, way to go, Kenwood.
Deviant. Is this 1998? I will say that, you know, people forget, and this was back then, Kenwood used to make some really high quality stuff. The Performance Series amps.
They made crossovers were like that big.
And then they made some B subs, the Tornado ugly looking ones on the top. They made some of those. They made the HQ line, which was the Japanese ones were fantastic.
Dude, let me tell you what, every product that they make, even today, they put like, if you're, I don't know about the regular line stuff because it's not even I care about, but anything that's Exelon or above, dude, that's the shit. Plain and simple. Like two things you guys were talking about on the show the other day. One, bass boost, love it. If you're not using it, why? Okay. Yeah. Look at an RTA, you're going to want bass boost because you need it. All right. I don't care. It's like, oh no, screw all that. Bass boost is there for a reason. Use it. Two, when you want to talk about what makes a cheap radio cheap and an expensive radio expensive, you guys were talking about the like, you know, like when you were saying, and I said all radios suck, all cheap radios suck. If you want to buy a better radio, buy the one in the description that says audio grade components. That is the differentiator between factory amplifier with high level to low level hooked up to RCAs or a true preamp section and an amplifier that is discrete. So, because they're not going to put discrete output section because no one understands what that means. So they're going to put audio grade components. And that's where you get into an actual preamp section that doesn't suck. So when you look at like the Kenwood Exelon stuff, or you look at like their higher end XR stuff, like an XR radio, I was putting in the XR radio the other day. And I pulled it out of the box and I was like, Jesus Christ, why is this so heavy? Holy shit. Like, dude, it is like old school 1990s heavy. And I'm like, wow. Damn, like this, and it's not all CD transport because, you know, I'm like, damn, this is just a heavy freaking radio because, I mean, the CD transports are heavy, which is funny because nowadays, literally, they've figured out how to make it like two pieces of metal. Like the CD transport used to be a transport you take out and put in. Now it's physically attached to the top panel of, like when they snap in the top of the radio, the CD transport is physically part of the top of the radio. It's so they've managed to strip the shit out of everything in these radios. And like when you the thing that always irritates me, I don't even know why we had a topic this week. I apologize. When
wait, we do topics?
Yeah, we do topics.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. We'll save that one for next week. one of the things that irritates me is people have their priorities all out of whack. The most important thing, the number one questions we used to get on radios is, can I change the splash screen? How do I change my wallpaper? And can I change the illumination? And it's like, wait a minute, are you kidding me? Like, you paid $190 for this 6.2-inch touchscreen in the dash. And the one concern you have is it doesn't light up blue, or I can't put a different image on the back of it. And it's like, okay, so the fact that it sounds like crap means nothing. And I feel that's why we're at where we're at. We're like, a $250 radio or a $299 CarPlay radio, or whatever the hell they're going for now. It's like, it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, hey, if all you're going to do is hook it up to 4 speakers and put it in your car, perfect. Yeah. That's what you do. If you're going to build a system off of it, or what I like to call a system building radio, man, you better put some money into that bitch.
Well, as long as you're being honest, like, I can accept the people that are being honest with themselves. They say, I care about this, and I care about this, and I care about getting loud. It's like, okay, I know how to deal with you. This is what we do.
Yeah. I don't think people know. They don't ask the questions because they don't know anymore. And then you try to explain it to them, and you're just like, Fernando loves bazooka tubes. That's what he had. But you try to explain it to them, and they're just like, it just falls back to the same thing like you guys were talking about with amplifiers. It's like, listen, 1,000 watts is not 1,000 watts is not 1,000 watts. Just because I put 1,000 watts on something doesn't mean that it's 1,000 watts. It just means that they paid some guy to, airbrush 1,000 watts on the top. I was like, ooh, sexy.
Yeah.
So, we had, I remember this was years ago. I mean, I worked at AVE at the time, and this kid came in, and this was right about that time where those cheaper amps were just starting to show up. Whatever those older crappy brands were, you guys are way better at naming these things than I am, because I was like, if it ain't Orion, you're crying. Yeah. But this kid comes in, and he's like, we're trying to sell an Orion amp, and he's just like, dude, like, no, man, I got this amp here. It's like $100 cheaper. And it's like,
I got this Crossfire.
Yeah, it's like, it's not the same thing. And you're just sitting there and you're trying to explain why. And he's just like, but it says it's 1,000 amps. The big yellow one is the sun. And you're just like, no.
Yeah.
No, Johnny, calm down. No. And you're just like, I'm just sitting there and I'm taking this all in. And I'm like, if I had realized at that moment that this was going to be where car audio was going to head, I should have jumped the track at that point and said, maybe the food industry isn't too bad.
Well, at least you found your little 5-star niche, and you can do what you do without being affected by, the overall, even though you are affected.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you're going to have to put in some stuff that you don't want to do, like a box subpar.
Yeah. I mean, shit, today we put in 2 radios, 2 doubled in radios that were non-touchscreen. It was just AM, FM, CD player, doubled ins. And it was like, wow, we still have those? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want Bluetooth and I want to fill my hole. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you, Jim. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are still resistive touchscreens anyway, so.
Yes, and they're not 720p. They're 480.
Yeah. Oh, 480, excuse me.
Yeah, it's 480. It's not 720. 720 is the upgrade.
That's the high 10 and the elevate.
The high 10 is actually 960, I think.
Oh,
900. Yeah,
I think that's like Apple of 1999 screen resolutions now.
Pretty dope.
Pretty sweet.
But okay, so here's the thing. So here's the argument for all of that. We would all love 1080. Okay, like the processor that is in this could probably get us to Mars. Okay, by comparison of what got us to the moon. Okay, processor speed has always been a problem. Okay, that phone right there is what is retail on it? $1,500-$1,600. We don't pay that. Something like that. I mean, we don't pay that for it. Obviously, we get it subsidized and all this other crap. We still pay a fortune for it. But, like a Kenwood has a dual core processor built into it running Penguin software, whatever the hell, Linux. So it runs Linux. Okay. And it has taken them till 3 years ago to figure out that that's what we need. We need processing speed. We don't need anything else. We need processing speed. When you touch a button, shit needs to happen. Okay. Yeah. Pioneer has gone the other way, and they run Android operating system on theirs, and they don't give a shit about their processor. However, some of their units do have dual core processors in them. They don't tell anybody, but it's only on like the top 3 models. But they dumb down the OS so much so that it just does what it needs to do. It's not pushing a big group of artwork. It's not doing any of that. And Alpine's the same way. They don't really get all hoo-hoo-y, because it's like if we don't have to get a bigger processor because processors are expensive. And when you look at like what a Kenwood Exelon 1057 or whatever it's called, 1057 costs compared to like everyone else's, it's a whole hell of a lot more. But the reason for it is 1, they have a higher resolution screen. 2, the graphics they're pushing are stupid. And 3, they have a dual core processor. It's like, and they wrote their own software. So it's like, okay, but you have to pay for that. Now take that up to a 1080 screen. All right, now we need a bigger processor. So at some point, these things are going to fire up and they're going to have the Pentium logo, boom, this has an i7 in it, and which to me is something I've been saying they need to do from the get-go. Like when you go buy a laptop, the first thing the sales guy says to you is, "Oh, this has got an i5 in it," and you're like, "i5? Is that better than i3? It's not as good as an i7. This has an i9 in it." It's like, "Oh shit, it's got an i9. Yeah. Oh, fuck, I don't know what that means, but it's got to be better than an 8 and a 7. Not as good as a 10, but whatever. It's pretty good for a single digit." But we all buy things that way. So it's like, why would you not? Every time I get these guys, and I'm like, dude, tell us what kind of processor you have. Make that a thing, so that it's like, listen, our entry level has an i3 processor in it. That's why it's $300. These have an i9 in it. That's why it's $1,200. It's like that shit people can wrap their head around and be like, there's value in that. But again, they you know what I mean?
The thing that kills me about them is their software sucks. I don't care which company you talk about. Their software sucks. It's like, have you ever used one of these? Do you know how they work and how they look and how they feel?
Nah.
Let's shoot for that.
No, slow it down, killer. Slow it down.
Yeah. I mean, buy a freaking Motorola phone for $100 that has a 1080p screen and use that and just build everything around it.
I agree, but it's like the race to zero has killed all that performance. If head units would have stayed profitable, okay, like if you would have looked at if you would plot from where we were in the 90s to the early 2000s, that curve of performance value features, if you would have kept that going up until now, radios would be $3,000 easy, but they would be smoking freaking hot, do all this cool shit. Well, they're not. They went like this, price went like this. And so features gets, it's like, how do we keep, making these things work? And
that's that's the true reason why we have what we have. Cause we're kind of stuck back in an era when, head units ruled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and they don't anymore. And
no, DSPs rule and head units drool.
Well, but okay. So on the opposite side of that, which would be an interesting conversation to have, would be like, now you have these cheaper DSPs finally hitting the market with software that just totally blows, sound quality that is for shit. But because everyone feels they need to make DSP, now we're getting these DSPs that are shit. And everyone's like, basically the Dayton is having babies.
Baby Dayton's running around.
Yeah. Nice. Just like, could you please suggest a good single DIN unit that has front and rear sub out that are a true preamp versus, like I said, when you look at the Kenwood Exelon stuff, any one of the Kenwood Exelons or the higher end Sonys, that's where you want to be. So if there's a Sony you like, go for that. The Sonys that have the big amplifier in it, obviously not the one to choose because they usually make one with a big amp and one without. The one without is going to have a good preamp. But like in the Exelon, they have like a 3, a 5, and a 7. Yeah, I think is their nomenclature. Go right up to the 7. Go for the 5 or the 7. Whichever ones they still make. And
a lot of them aren't in stock, unfortunately.
What's that?
A lot of them aren't in stock everywhere, unfortunately. There's been a shortage here and there.
Of the Singletons?
Yeah.
Call Paul.
the X304, it's like a $120 unit.
Yeah.
It has been.
You don't want the 304.
It just recently come in stock.
Yeah, you don't want the 304. 304 is a feature pack. Just move past that. Go right to just third column. To
the 700.
Just go right up to the top. I think the 5 is probably the one to get but the 7. So the other thing too that they're starting to finally figure out is that they don't need to come out with new radios every year. So, that's a good thing. But yeah,
you just need the 304S model. Just go with Apple X model.
Exactly, El Fuego.
Win. It's very flexible, man. It's the most flexible wire you can work with.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's not a lie, maybe.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll save this topic for next week.
Yeah.
We'll get to wiring. We'll talk about trends in wiring next week. I promise.
Yeah.
This one just went sideways really fast, and honestly, the conversation we were having was probably more interesting than talking about zip ties. So
zip ties for the win. Get the D-wire. Do all the things.
Oh yeah, definitely head over to mobilesolutions.USA. Pick up the D-wire ruler. 20. I don't know how much it is. It's 20 something. Comes in 2 pieces, so you get to pick the color, and there's the short one and a long one, and they go together like this to make an even longer one. Which these are samples, so these were cut wrong. These are all the mistakes that we made when we were figuring out how to build them. I was like, so this one will go together, right? Yeah, so that one goes together. So they're made to go together like that, and then you get an even longer one. Or a short one. The short one, believe it or not, is really helpful because, like, we've been using these because, naturally you come out with something and immediately they want you to come out with something else. And it's like, all right, let me work on that. So
V2.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, you need to come out with something else. I'm like, slow down, man. Like, can we enjoy this? I mean, can we get 6 months with this piece? Shit. But yeah, if you're doing wiring and you want your wiring to go to the next level and you want to make sure all your zip tie holes are but the one thing that people like, you don't have to do, like, this has obviously, let's see, is this one easier to see? So like it has all these zip tie holes. You don't have to use all these. It says on the side here, like, this is 1 1/4 and this is 3/4. And the reason why I did that is because if you skip every other one, that gets you 1.5 inches. If you skip every other one here, that gets you to 2.5. So, a lot of people will skip and do every other one, and that gets you a fatter spacing, or you do every 4 or something like that. So the idea is you don't have to go in every hole, but at least sets it up so if you're going to do wider spacing, you make sure so it's not like you have like this and like that and like this. And the Dayton DSP burned my house down, stole my wife's purse.
Nice. So what you got coming up? What's coming up?
So tomorrow, if I manage to get a video out, it's going to be the final conclusion of the JVC radio. We're going to put that in my car. Got that in there and walk through the whole process of that. Tomorrow, Saturday, we're not doing a show because I'm taking the day off. So no Saturday show this week. But next Saturday, Fernando's going to be off, and we're going to have Jeff Smith on to fill in. So the official 4th man of the show is going to be filling in for Jeff Smith. So what I'm planning on doing is not taking the plethora of fun questions that we always take and talking more about tuning, because he is the god of all things tuning. So I figured we could talk about why we picked 24 dB Linkwix Riley. All those questions that people have asked over the years, I want to throw it to him, and we can go over a bunch of DSP stuff. So if you're wondering what pair of 6.5s you should get for your car, for one, stop asking. But 2, ask on Monday when we do the Facebook Live show. But yeah, so we got excitement, and then I have no idea what's going on next week otherwise, because we'll just play that one by ear. But yeah,
that's how we do it. So I've got a extremely cheap head unit I'm testing, and
perfect.
We'll see how that turns out. I've already got the video done and ready. And if you're on Patreon, you're it. How cheap is cheap?
I mean, we're talking like $15.
More.
So $25.
$25.
$25. Who gives a shit?
It's on sale. The original price is $50.
Who cares?
And really? I bet you couldn't name the brand if you tried.
Iowa.
You know what? Iowa. Do they still make stuff? No, it's people love them, man. People love them. So, it's cheap enough. I'm not going to say, man.
That's true. That's true. Don't say. I want to say.
I will tell you once we end the broadcast. I will tell you what it is. And I mean, if you're on Patreon, you've already seen the video because it's done. It's ready. It's coming out Monday. So,
you mean you actually use Patreon for that?
I use Patreon for that, man. So
we have a bunch of guys. I love them all, but they get no special treatment. I feel terrible, but it's like
the truth of the matter is, most of the people that are on Patreon are just there to support you, anyways. Most of them don't watch it on Patreon. They just watch it when it comes out, which makes them extra awesome.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Well, that's awesome. Now I don't have to wait and cheap radio video.
Right.
Does it have an SD card slot? That's all I want to know.
I'm looking at it right now. No. Has a USB. Has a USB.
Is it USB-C or USB?
Oh, come on, man. USB-C doesn't exist in car audio head units. Hardly.
Oh, it does. Pioneer.
Yeah.
Pioneer's all
very
USB-C
models.
It's very fragile, too, because they're dumbasses in how they implemented it. But we won't go down that road. So
yeah.
But
I can do that a lot of times.
We do make a wonderful USB-C flush mount for every time we have to put one in. So that was fun.
Does it have a 5-star logo?
Sometimes it does. It does. It depends how annoyed I am when I have to put it in.
That makes it 10 times better.
Yeah. It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and for joining us on whatever it was we talked about tonight. I'm sure there was car audio in it somewhere. So please come back next week and we'll get back to that wire stuff. Oh yeah, head over to mobilesolutions.usa.com or just whatever. Pick yours up. They're fun. They make great stocking stuffers. I don't care what holiday
for
it is.
next year. For this year.
Just whatever. Put in your stocking. They're great. Oh, dude, another thing. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, right there. That's the spot. Oh. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you come back next week on the same bat channel.
Same bat time.
Bye.